Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and I am finally back and ready to get onto full board. Sometime this week, most likely, well, it might be this week, it may be potentially what I would call next week, potentially this week, next week, I'll be doing a particular video announcement showing what's my plans going on for 2023 and on so forth, so that way you guys kind of get the idea of what my plans are, what's to be expected, and what I'm planning to work on in the meantime, and all that stuff. So stay tuned for that. Another thing as well, I will apologize for not uploading on Friday. My cards at the time apparently was not all there apparently, because for whatever reason, when I did it on Thursday, I thought it was Friday. And I did not realize Friday was a thing, so no videos on Friday. So I apologize for that. And as for today, I will get 2 videos out today for sure. That's for certain. I don't know if I'll get out 3 because it's getting a bit late. But I'll definitely be going back to my normal 3-video format by tomorrow for sure. So don't worry, I apologize for all that. I am getting back right on forward. All the stuff is great, doing good. So without further ado, we can get on to the actual video at hand. Now, we have seen a lot of, I would say, what you would call people rising against, communists and stuff like that, and all this great stuff that is potentially what's happening with China. And, well, as we all say, all great communist regime eventually come to an end at some point. It's just a matter of fact when it happened, and now it's starting to happen in China. And it doesn't seem like China has a really good stake in the whole of things. Protests in China over zero-COVID policy highlight challenges for Jinping. China does not appear to be backing down from its overall zero-COVID strategy, as protests over the weekend escalated the unprecedented calls for President Xi Jinping to resign, and the country approaches the 3-year mark of the discovery of the coronavirus in Wuhan. Officials did relax some regulations in an apparent attempt to appease the public, but experts don't expect the country to end its overall strict mitigation measures anytime soon, despite the protests. Oh, they will if it gets any worse. Trust me. By the way, there is not just protests happening in just one part of China. By the way, it's all over China, rural areas and stuff like that. All over China, these protests are happening, and there might be protests now, but they can very easily and very quickly turn into riots. The police had to forfeit some guy over because they were overwhelmed. And I'm going to be going back to how much power the people actually have over the government compared to the government having power over the people in a little bit here of showing what us Americans can do. Without acknowledging the rallies, the city government of Beijing said it would stop blocking access to apartment buildings where infected residents live. Well, they're going to have to because things are not going too well for them. Public bus services will resume, and some businesses will open in the city of Urumqi? We're going to go with that. Where an apartment fire broke out last week and killed 10 people. The fire prompted outrage as some reports questioned whether strict COVID-19 mitigation measures hampered emergency response. Despite the relaxation of some restrictions, the country's overall COVID-19 strategy is still in effect, while the measures likely prevented massive waves of infections previously. They are now prompting unrest among citizens who have been under lockdowns for months at a time, and the country's coronavirus cases are on the rise, reaching record levels. The protests that spanned Shanghai and Beijing over the weekend were the biggest showing of the opposition to the Chinese Communist Party in decades. It came shortly after Xi started an unprecedented third term as China's leader, likely asserting his place as ruler for life. Protesters in a video from Shanghai on Saturday that was verified by the Associated Press shouted, "Xi Jinping, step down, CCP, step down." But a heavy police force was present on Monday with no further protests reported. Huang Ho Feng of Johns Hopkins University told the Associated Press that the party is experienced at handling protests. Without the clear signal of party leader divisions, I would expect this kind of protest might not last very long, Huang said, and it is unimaginable that Xi would back down. White House COVID-19 response coordinator Aziz Jaha on Sunday told ABC this week that China's strategy is going to be very difficult to sustain. Obviously, that is not our strategy, Jaha said. We don't think this is realistic. We're certainly not realistic for the American people. Our strategy has been build up immunity in the population by getting people vaccinated. That's how you manage an incredible contagious variant like Omicron. Alright. That's what's happening in China. And do the COVID vaccine stuff. But, again, let me go over a few things that people need to quickly understand here. That is particularly happening or happened in China. It wasn't just the COVID restrictions. It was the Chinese government taking their kids away from them and putting them into hazmat suits, etc., and having them taken away from their kids. Where, of course, that one fire where 10 people were killed because they were more likely wedged into the fire, wedged into their buildings, because that's what the Chinese government does. And to where the Chinese government, to where their currency is not doing so well, and they had to shut off bank accounts because of the actual currency that's been going on, and people are starving, etc., etc. So this is all things that are all building up in China that led to these issues. Now, obviously, it's not. Finally, the Chinese people have had enough, and I support the Chinese people for fighting for their rights and their ability to go against their regime, go against the madman that is controlling and ruining their lives, and I can always support that. Now, let me go into the things that Americans have been dealing with. Americans, fellow patriots, you're idiots. Because we have seen protests in other countries be more American than us. It's the truth. You want to say that we're Americans, we got all this freedom and stuff? We're the least American type of people right now in America today. The only thing that binds America today is our guns. That's the only thing that would really make us America. But the once great America that we had, the great USA, is no longer here. The American pride has been stripped away from some of us Americans, or if not majority of Americans, and I can see why. So, let me put it this way. You want to know why the midterm elections went as they did? Not enough of you vote enough. You're all idiots. You want to know why Disney is still profitable, still be able to make money? You still buy their products. You still support them. You want to know why Netflix still has not fallen into complete bankruptcy? Because you guys still pay for it. And it's with this type of support and this lack of backbone is why these companies still exist today. Now you're going to say, oh, well, not everybody's doing this. Well, you say that. Yeah, sure, Disney lost $1.2 billion or so in the past month or so, give or take. Doesn't matter. We still have fools, such as yourselves, supporting them. You're weak. The people of China have more Americanism in their blood right now than Americans do. The Americans led to the power of what we see people today. Where we had Hong Kong a few years ago having American flags being more American than us. And yet we allow this stuff to happen. You don't go out and vote. You cause the things that you see happening here. This isn't just the Democrats, by the way. This is also Republicans and conservatives who think that they're doing good, who think that they're great, but in all reality, they're not really all that great because they didn't go and do their just service. Did you vote? Did you really go out and vote in the midterms? Or did you just sit on your ass and complain and do nothing? Do you really hate Disney? Did you support their work? Did you buy their movies? Well then, I would also say that you're also part of the reason why they're so able to function, where they're so able to potentially groom your children, to where they're so able to give out this content and more ruined lives of Americans. Because you still support it. You still give them money. Around the world, we're seeing in Brazil and Brazil, Australia, and all these, hell, even Canada, to where their protests put ours to shame. We are not the America that we once were. You're cowards. We're all cowards. And if enough of you wanted to have this change, stand up and fight back. You're the only ones that can do it. Stop being cowards. Stop bending the knee. Because if people like this in China that you see going against the regime to where their very lives can be instantly taken from them, such as in Russia, by the way, where we've seen vans taking those people away, where they most likely were potentially killed. They knew the risks. They still did it. Would you? No. Because you're a coward. I sit here on this video right here today, knowing possibly that the far left could come after my life, knowing that I could be risking everything because they don't like me. But you know what? I still do it because it takes some type of non-cowardice to do something to change things. I understand everybody's life is in a particular situation they can't do things. But what about the Chinese people? You're really gonna wait until things get really, really bad, aren't you? This is an attack on both the Democrats and the Republicans, by the way. Conservatives and all the like. You want to fight back? Make the actual fight back. If you don't do it, shut up and watch the decline. Because it's all going to happen. And the only way we're going to change it is if we step up and do what's right. Learn from the Chinese people. Learn from other countries. They'll teach you how to be an American again. That's it for the video. Like, subscribe, share, and always, take care.